the open science infrastructures. And Mojca referred earlier to this open knowledge platform, which has been quite a core part of the SSH Centre project. And I wanted to ask you, Mojca, to tell us a little bit. I mean, we had quite ambitious plans for this platform as a space where researchers can engage and exchange. And I want you to tell us a little bit about some of the challenges and tips that you might have about for projects or individuals looking to do this kind of more platform level work.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rosie. Happy to reflect on this second UNESCO pillar, open science infrastructure, by introducing the SSH Open Knowledge Platform, which we, as you mentioned, developed as part of the SSH Centre project. And the main idea behind this platform is to make high quality SSH knowledge on climate, energy, and mobility more visible, more accessible, both through the open library and the SSH exploration space. So these are two main pillars. And interestingly, this was not something that we knew, that we predefined or knew in advance. It's something that came out of a lot of discussions that we had in the consortium. So if we start with the SSH Open Library, I think it's my next slide, showing a bit the filtering system. So it's really, the library is packed with great resources, filtering tools. We are regularly updating it. But getting to this point wasn't really simple. And I think that as a consortium, we had a lot of discussions around how to structure this library, how to organize knowledge, what filters make the most sense. What is it that the SSH early to mid-career researchers and other SSH researchers actually need? There was also this discussion around how do we stay open to other audiences too, also to the policymakers who are looking for SSH resources, for example. And in hindsight, I would say one key lesson, at least from my viewpoint, was define your audience early and define it clearly, and also narrow it down as much as it makes sense, because having a clearer focus on exactly who we want to support with the platform would have made some design decisions smoother, and also the platform perhaps even more helpful. That's for the first part, and the second part is the exploration space on the next slide. This was also a huge learning experience for me, at least, but I think also for the whole consortium. So our early version and vision was that this early and mid-career SSH researchers would actively co-create content together with us, together with the consortium. But then as the project activities rolled out, things got busy, as they usually do in projects. And speaking from my personal perspective, I didn't quite manage to keep that collaboration going as broadly as I hoped, because I was not perhaps persistent enough in all the stages of, I don't know, like Amy mentioned, working with the early and mid-career researchers for the knowledge brokerage program. There was so much, it was such a high dynamic of their work, of their collaboration in the knowledge brokerage program itself, that I didn't keep this space of integrating them also in the SSH exploration space co-creation. But I mean, thankfully, our big consortium came through with great contributions, of course, but still much of the exploration space reflects internal work. But that said, it is opening up. And for example, the section on open science, open education is and will be engaging more people like you here in this training and later in the online course. So the recommendation coming out of this would be that start the engagement early and stay persistent in making this engagement real. Perhaps one final thought, building on something that George from Holistic mentioned earlier, asked actually earlier in the Q&A, this idea of inclusivity. Yeah, definitely. It's not just about making science open. It's also about making it useful to the audiences, to the target groups. And just putting, like you mentioned, George, data sets or code on GitHub doesn't make them helpful. If there's no structure, if there's no context, then even experts can't take much of it. And I think in the modeling projects that you're involved in, it's even more obvious. And I think of it like, getting a stack of papers with no labels, no summaries. Yeah, you technically have access, but what can you really do with it? So, and that's what we're trying to address with this platform, both with the filtering system that I've shown for the SSH Open Library, both with the template that Amy has shown for the Zenodo, sharing research data on Zenodo. So it's not just providing open resources, but it's about doing it in a way that actually invites people in and also guides them and helps them actually work with what's openly there.